You guys are going to get sick and tired of hearing me say this and hearing me talk about why it's important, why it's so important to track your progress, to track your food, to track your workouts. But in the 35 years that I have been a coach and a trainer, it has never failed that the clients that track are always more successful than the ones that don't. And as they say, success leaves clues. And the more people that follow that path wake up to the results that they've been looking for. And one of my clients, this has happened to her over this last week. So she's been with me for 6 weeks. She's going into the seventh week. And over the 6 weeks, she lost a total of 6.8 pounds. So a little bit over a pound a week. Not bad at all. But over this last week, she had her biggest weight loss. So out of that 6.8 pounds that she lost over the 6 week, in her last week, she lost 3.8 of that 6.8 pounds. So nearly half of the weight that she lost in the 6 weeks, she lost in just 1 week. And I always know that whenever you see a weight loss like that, there's always something drastic that happened in that person's life. A mindset shift or just physically doing more as we talk about effort and expectations. So this client definitely increased her effort, which increased the outcome. So looking at her notes and kind of going back to this conversation, we just had this conversation probably about 30 minutes ago. Um, she said to me, I think I've kind of been just playing around with this program, and I finally reached that point where I decided that I'm either going to do it or I'm not. And she said when she first started for the first 5 weeks, she wasn't there, but she said she is now. Um, so she realized that, as the saying goes, and, you either need to poop or get off the pot. It's one or the other. And she had realized that the reason why she wasn't seeing the results that she wanted to see was because she wasn't fully committed to doing all the work. And one of the biggest things was tracking. She was tracking, but she was tracking at the end of the day and not during the day. So she would realize that she was either over her calories or way under her calories at the end of the day when it was already too late. So she had just decided that it was finally time for me to commit. Finally time for me to decide to do the things necessary. She was playing around in the beginning, and I thanked her for her honesty of being able to really admit that she wasn't doing everything she could have been doing. And because most people, and we had talked on a call, and I said most people would allow their ego to prevent them from being able to be honest. And they would think, I'm doing everything, I don't know what's going wrong. And that would oftentimes stop a lot of people. But she said, look, I'm the reason why I'm not getting the results. I haven't fully committed. And I always say everybody's got to get to that point where enough is enough. And I'm finally ready to do all the work. And again, I know people are going to get sick and tired of me talking about tracking, but it's super important. We had talked about where is it? We talked about, so what are the rules that she needs to follow? And she said she needs to set or plan the time to do exercise and give the workouts 100%. So one of the other things she had mentioned was that she just was kind of playing around with the workouts. And although she enjoyed working out, She wasn't pushing herself as hard as she could have been pushing herself during her workouts. And over this last 7 days, she finally decided that she was going to really go all in on these workouts, all in on giving it 100%. And that's another reason why she saw the results that she saw over this last 7 days. So, one of the things I said to her in today's call, I said, oftentimes we don't track because we're lazy. Because what we know is that a lot of people will use time as an excuse or a bunch of other excuses. And I say, for instance, time is only an obstacle when it's something that you really don't want to do or something that you don't like doing. But even those things, when there's urgency, there's deadlines, we will find the time to get those things done. The problem is for a lot of people in getting fit, losing weight, getting into better shape, there's no urgency behind reaching those goals. So because there's no urgency, we find it easy and convenient to use excuses like time. But as I like to say, and as my client agreed, we will find the time for the things we either really need to do or the things we really want to do. And my client found the time. She had to set aside the time. And sometimes that means taking away time from other things that are less important and devoting that time towards the things that are more important. And she said she needed to track and record every day. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're going through some struggles and having a hard time reaching your goals and you're not doing these things, like I said to my client, I said, what in life would you expect to be really successful at guessing your way to success? I said, not many things, yet we expect to just be able to sort of eat kind of good and sort of do a little exercise. And then we're surprised when we don't reach our goals. So tracking is super important because, as they say, knowledge is power. So anyway, I wanted to share that story with what my client went through at her eye-opening, awakening week, because now she knows that she can do it. Now she knows that she could be getting the results that she wants, even though she was moving in the right direction, definitely moving in the right direction, slower than she could have been. And we even said, what if we had gotten to this moment 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, where you might be right now? And she smiled and we laughed, but we said, look, it doesn't matter when you get it, as long as you get it. And now she's got it. And now we can move forward with that momentum, knowing that we now know the level of effort it takes to get faster results. So let me know down below what you think in the comments. Have you ever had something like this happen to yourself or someone that you know? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you need any help on your journey, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and the two of us will figure out what we need to do together to get you from where you're at to where you want to be. And of course, as always, the first coaching call is free.